Hey guys, it's Allison, and today we're going to be talking about chords and how learning key signatures can help you to write your songs. The key to understanding chords and understanding basic music theory to construct melodies is to understanding piano. Even if you don't play piano, it's important to understand how it works. First, there are white keys and there are black keys. And the white keys are all of the normal notes, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then all the black keys are all the sharps or flats. So if you start at A and move one up, this is either A sharp or B flat, depending on which key you're playing in. We'll get back to that later. But you'll notice between A and B is A sharp, B flat. So sharp is one pitch higher, flat is one pitch lower. So one pitch higher than A is A sharp, but one pitch lower than B is B flat. It's the same note, just different names depending on the key signature. Again, we'll get to that later. So A sharp or B flat, B, C. You'll notice that there's no key between B flat and C. That's because they're a half step apart, meaning there's no pitch between them. A and B are a whole step apart, meaning there is one pitch between them. So from A to B, there's one pitch between them. They're a whole step. Between A to A sharp, they're a half step because there's no pitch between these two keys. And between B to C is a half step because there's no pitch between B and C. After C, you get C sharp or D flat, because it's between C and D. C and D are a whole step, C and C sharp are a half step, D and D flat are a half step. It's important here to note that you will never really have D and D flat in the same song. It'll often be D and C sharp, because when I explain key signatures, you'll find out that there's only one type of each letter in a key signature. So your key may say that C's and F's are sharp. So therefore, there is no C, regular C, natural is what it's called when it's not sharp or flat, or F natural in a key that has C and F sharp. Next, after D, is D sharp or E flat, then E, then F, then F sharp or G flat, then G, then G sharp or A flat, and then back to A. There I went in alphabetical order, but generally you start at this key, which is called middle C, and you work up from that or down from that. But I just started in alphabetical order because it makes more sense to me personally. Now for key signatures. When you look at a key signature, it will generally look like this. In this key signature, you will see that B, E, and A are all flat, meaning there's no B naturals, there's no A natural, and there's no E natural. So therefore, B will be flat, E will be flat, and A will be flat. There are no sharps in this key signature. To understand key signatures and how sharps and flats work together, look at this picture of the circle of fifths. What you can notice about this picture of the circle of fifths is that you can see major keys with the red letters and then the minor keys with the green letters. And also around you'll see a picture of a staff with a treble clef and some either sharps or flats. These tell you how many sharps, flats, or in the case of C, it's all naturals. This circle of fifths is a helpful diagram that you should refer to when you're thinking about writing melodies for your chord progressions or deciding which chords or notes fit together and make a sensible key. In a key that has B flat, E flat, and A flat, this is called the key of E flat. and you would play a scale in E flat like this. Start on E, then move to the next letter, which is F. Since there are no F sharps, we're going to play an F natural. There's also no F flats that exist, and it's not mentioned in the key signature. So we're going to play E flat, F. We know that G is natural because it's not mentioned in the key signature. Then A flat because that's what's said. There's no A natural because it's A flat. Then B flat is the next. Then C is natural, D is natural, and E is flat. When you play that down the scale, it goes. That's one example of a scale. Scales and key signatures are important to know when writing a music piece because you don't want to have notes that sound bad together. For example, if you're playing an entire song in one key and then you throw in an odd accidental or a couple odd accidentals, which is a note that is not in the key signature, it can sometimes sound weird. So you want to pick a key and stick to it unless you're having a purposeful key change. Let's say you're playing something in the key of F major, which has one B flat, and you're playing this, you're going, and you suddenly play that regular B, the B natural. It sounds weird, it sticks out, and in more traditional music, when you're beginning as a songwriter, it's easiest just to stick to one key. The next part is understanding that key signature and those scales and making chords out of them. So let's take the key that I was talking about before, with B, E, and A flat. You're not going to play a C major chord in that key, because the C major chord with these three keys has an E natural, and we know that E has to be flat. So instead you'll play a C minor chord. The difference between a minor and a major chord is generally how it sounds. For example, the common trope about minor and major chords is that major chords are happy, so you have C major, D major, E major, F major, and then you have more sad sounding chords, which are C minor, D minor, E minor, and F minor. Now for now, if you're beginning to learn chords, it's best just to memorize them. But later, you might be able to understand how notes can function into making a chord major or minor. All songs with their chord progressions will use both major and minor chords. For example, if you have a song in C major, you'll maybe play a C major chord, then an F major chord, then an A minor chord, then a G major chord. Maybe you'll throw in a D minor chord, and then play a C major chord again, and then throw in, say, an E minor chord. Those are all in the same key. When you have keys that involve sharps or flats, your chords are going to be a little different. For example, like I was saying in that one key with these three, you're going to use maybe a chord that will look like this, an E flat chord, or maybe a B flat chord. So your chords are a little bit different now. Instead of playing an F major, you'll play an F minor in the key of E flat. So that'll change how your song sounds. You're going to want to pick a different key signature if you want a different sound. So when learning different key signatures, or learning songs that are played in key signatures, scales are great to use. To play a scale, you just start with whatever this scale is named. If the scale is named G, you start on a G, and then you just play up alphabetically all of the notes that are mentioned in the key signature. If the key is F major, you start on an F. Since B flat is mentioned in the key signature, you play B flat instead of B natural. Just like that. It's important too, when you're learning whatever instrument you're playing, especially if it's piano, to play a bunch of different songs in different keys so that you can get used to how certain keys will make your song sound. When you're writing a song, it's important to play your song in a bunch of different keys to find what feels right. If I'm writing a song, I may say start with a B minor chord. And if that sounds right in the context of my song, I'll keep that. If it sounds, say I think that sounds too dark for the song that I want to write, maybe I'll try starting with a C major chord. And maybe that sounds a little too dreary for me and I want to make it sound more peppy. Maybe I'll start with an F sharp chord. So it's all about playing around with your chords and seeing what works, seeing what fits to the kind of song you want to write, see what notes sound best in the song and its emotion. And then once you picked out a chord progression or a key signature, you can start writing melodies. So you can go if you have a chord progression that uses those keys, for example. So I think it's always best to start with a key signature before you write your melody so you know which direction you're headed in. So I hope this really basic lesson on music theory, chords, and key signatures helped you out. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.